go through the massive scaling system, as I call it. So basically, I'll show you how you can scale your ads once you have some good data, once you have some well-performing ad sets and campaigns, what to do with them, how to increase the ad spend, and how to make even more sales for your client or for yourself. So first of all, before we get into that, like this is applicable when you have at least several ad sets that are performing at the under KPIs that you have established, and at this point you want to increase your ad spend to spend more on traffic and to get bigger amount of leads and sales to your business or your client's business. So the system we'll be using will include several ways to basically increase that ad spend and find winning audiences that will perform. But before we start, I just want you to understand several things. Before you get started, you have to be prepared, like while scaling the KPI, the CPA, the cost per actions that you are getting. You should expect it to become higher while you're increasing the ad spend. The reason for that is because when you're increasing the ad spend, like Facebook is adjusting their algorithms on the back end as well to readjust to what you're spending and to give you to give you the conversions that you need in order to match your goals. And because of the increased ad spend, sometimes like it can increase up to 50%. It's not always that high. But for example, if you're paying $20 CPA right now, for example, cost per purchase with your e-commerce website, it might go high as $30. So it's not always the case, once again, but you should be prepared for it. So if you're working with a client and he tells you that he wants to increase the ad spend and he wants to basically reach more people and sell more of his products, you should tell him that that's okay, you can do it, but he should be prepared to for increased costs while it happens. And I had the same thing with some of my clients when we started to spend more. The CPA increased, and I explained it to clients that this is part of the process. That is, like, no matter what anyone tells you, you should be prepared to spend more. And companies that are spending a lot on Facebook advertising, their CPAs typically higher than the companies with low, because it's easy to generate 100 leads at $5. But when you're doing this on a scale, it's harder to control, it's harder to optimize. And also, as I said, Facebook algorithm is readjusting that to you also competing with other advertisers, so that's another factor. So CPA will go up. Second of all, you should watch ad fatigue. So basically that means that when your ads are shown to more and more people of the same audience, over time it exhausting your audience. And if you're spending more to get your ad in front of those people, it means that it will just exhaust your audience quicker. So you need to watch for your main ad metrics, such as CPC and also click-through rate. So if you see that your cost per click grows and your click-through rate decreases, you should, and also your frequency at the same time is 2.0 higher, it might be the time to replace your ad creative. So you would go to to your campaign, and basically you would replace like you would copy all of the adverts that are that you want to basically replace, and so I would recommend you start with at least just one or two just to start with, so um, you do not like switch all of them to a new ad set, because like what you're doing here is like usually it's not recommended. Um, like no one is recommending to switch to make any edits to the advert, because it's optimizing constantly. But in our situation, when it starts to lose momentum, and its performance becomes worse than before, that's the way to go. And so what you would do here is you would pull your page post ID, as I showed you before. So you would copy it from your page. Either it's a published post or AdWords post, whatever you want to replace it with. But just remember that you want to keep the same copy, because after the optimization process that we have identified that this copy is a winner. So all you want to change is just the image. For example, this one. Okay, this one has the same image, so we would use some other one. Okay, so let's take, for example, just copy this ID here. And install it here, then submit, and it should pull the ads that you have in there. So remember, you want to have in that ad, you want to have the same ad copy. You just want to replace the image. And then you want to click confirm and close. And in this situation, we have this ad is a bit different because it's a carousel ad, but typically you want to have the same type of image, and the same ad copy, just a different image. So that's what you do when you see that your frequency is 2.0 or higher, and you see your costs are increasing, and basically you replace your ad with another one. The third one is third factor you need to consider is that size of the audience matters. Typically, you'll find that you can spend about $1,000 a day. Like you can do it with ease on the audience with size of 1 million. So approximately each 1,000 people is about $1 a day net spent. So, for example, here. So for example, here we have the audience of 17 million people, which is quite big, because we have this button here. So 500,000 people would mean that you can spend about $500 a day, and you should get enough potential reach to not exhaust your audience. So that's for the reach. Now with your like exactly with scaling types, like there are three different types of scaling. So first of all, there is a vertical scaling. So vertical scaling is taking ad sets that are working well in your campaigns and increasing their reach and budgets on them. So we use two strategies to facilitate that. First of all, we modify the budget. The way most people do this, and I've heard a lot about people who, for example, they have an ad set, for example, this one, and it performs under your CPA. So you see that, for example, cost per purchase is below $20, what you have established, and you see that it brings you sales, so you want to basically spend more on that ad set. And what people would do is they would go here and they would increase the ad spend from $5 to $100 or $1,000. And what would happen is it will completely destabilize the algorithm and optimizations that Facebook is doing on the back end of your campaigns. And basically that will completely kill the performance of this ad. You'll get approximately the same number of conversions as you had with your old budget, but now you'll spend a lot more on ads. So basically it will not result in any good situation. So what you should do instead is, for instance, here if you have $5 a day budget, you should, like in my experience and what we've been doing in our agency, it's we increase the budget by 20-30% every 2-3 days. So for example, if you have $5 here, you would increase it to $7 basically, and you would see how that affects the performance of ads. So if you want to, like for example, if you see that several of the ad sets are performing well, you would mark them, and then you would edit. If all of them have the same budget, you would increase it here. You would increase it here and you click save. So this would edit 4 advert sets at the same time. So that's one of the strategies, and in my experience, it's just very basic but very effective. Like you don't need much to. You don't need like there is nothing much to think about with this strategy. But important to remember that this strategy will not work every time. Sometimes you have those ad sets, they're working well, and then you simply you increase the budget by 20-30%, and it will stop performing. So you just have to watch for it. You have to watch your main KPIs that you have established, because it's like this method, like basically any method that I show you in this presentation, basically it's not guaranteed to working, because Facebook algorithm is quite unpredictable, and there is no like in my experience after doing hundreds and thousands of campaigns, there is no like proven way to like that you can simply like scale your campaigns and it will guarantee to be profitable. There will be ad sets that you have to optimize. There will be ad sets that you have to turn off. So you need to be prepared for it. So I showed you how to increase the ad set budgets. So basically, you'll be looking on it. Like for example, here if we have the ad spend of $5, like if you have it like $50 and you have quite constrained budget, like you can run this ad set with increased budget by another like 48-72 hours to see if that is working. But if you have very if you have some limitations on budget, you can turn it off sooner, because basically what will happen is you'll just waste your money, because like if it doesn't work straight away, it's likely to not work at all. And so what you would do then in those ad sets that you have increased budgets on, you would switch budgets back to the level where they have been performing well. So here, if we have $5 and we just increase it to $7, and suddenly it stopped performing, so what we would do is we would highlight them again, and we would switch it back to $5 here. So like it would, like your approach, like how fast you would do it, and how fast you would react if something does not perform well, would depend on the on the budgets that you have. For instance, if you can spend $1,000 to test it out, you can leave it for 2 days more. But if you do not have, just get into it and get it back into the previous level, and it should normalize. In my experience, it should normalize to the once you get it back to the previous level. So you would do this. There is no limit on how many times you can do it. For example, you increase it to $7 and it works, and you increase it to $9 and you increase it to $11. You would increase it to like from $11, you would increase it to $13, and you go on with that. But it's just like at some certain point it will stop work. So for example, let's say you're spending like here $20, you increase it to $25 per ad set, and then at a certain point it stops performing. So if it stops performing, it's best to just switch it back to the previous level where it was performing better. So if it was performing well at 25 and you increase it to 30 and it stopped performing well, you switch it back to $25. And then there is another approach for vertical scaling. Basically, we would duplicate winning ad sets. Like the same as with previous ones, this strategy does not work 100% of times. Oftentimes, you would create like 5 identical ad sets. Like everything is identical. Ad is identical. Settings are identical. Placement is identical. Everything is completely the same. And then each of them would perform differently. Each of them would have different different performance. One of them would get purchases at $20, and one of them would get purchases at $5. So it would complete, because it's Facebook algorithm, and that's the way it works. So with this another approach, for example, you have this advert set performing, and you want to increase the ad spend on it. So what you would do here is you would go into ad set. As you can see, it's already created the copy because I clicked duplicate campaigns. And so what you would do here, you would do a little change to the ad set, so it does not compete with the same ad set. So for example, you would change the age bracket slightly, so it wouldn't compete with the same campaigns that we had. So the previous one was 25 to 45, and this one to 26 to 45. Then you would click save and continue, and this would save your this ad set. The way you always want to have those little tweaks in ad sets that you're duplicating, because you don't want them compete with one another. Another strategy is what I've been testing recently, and it's been working well for me. So for example, you have here, let's just choose those. Oh, it's okay. It's set. Go on campaign level. Okay, so here, guys, we have we have these campaigns, and for example, you've noticed that in one of the campaigns, this ad set is getting you sales at the price you want, and since this is quite big audience that you can reach. For example, like 1 million people. So you know for sure that you can spend a lot of money on that specific audience on that ad set. So what you would do is you duplicate it in the same way as you would do with with previous approach. As you can see, it says here copy, and then you would decide how much you want, how much you would spend on this scaling. So the essence of this scaling is that, for example, if you have some ad set at a low budget, you would copy it, like duplicate it exactly to with slight tweaks to the same audience, basically to very similar audience, and you would have your budget at much higher level. So if the first original one was at $10 or $20 a day, this new one you would have at $100 or $200 a day. And so what will happen is, in my experience, about 70% of time, that new ad set will perform as good as original one. So it will give you conversions at the same CPAs that you have with your original one. And if it doesn't, you simply shut it down. There is no it will not recover. But this is one of the strategies that you can use to basically scale very quickly. If you have several ad sets and you keep duplicating them at the higher budgets, some of them will be working at a profitable level. So you just want to keep them running. And the process for setting this up, as I showed you, you just decide how much you like. If you want to do this fast scaling, how much you want to spend on it, and you set a high budget that's comfortable for you. So if you're comfortable spending $100 per ad set, and just basically you're gambling, but as I've said, is in majority of cases this will work out well, and if it doesn't, you simply turn it off, and you just let it run for 1-3 days just to confirm whether it performs, and then if your numbers hold, you just leave it, and you do step 1 on vertical scaling. So you would increase the budget gradually by 20-30% with this ad set. And there is another scaling type. So we just went through the vertical type of scaling, and just to remind you, one of them is when you have your ad set performing well, you would increase the budget by 20-30% every 2-3 days. And another strategy is to basically duplicate your ad set and make a slight variation for them to basically not compete with one another. And we also went through duplicating the ad set and setting the budget for it at a much higher level than your original one, just because oftentimes it proves to be a good strategy for making big jumps in your ad spend and making it profitable. So the second type of the scaling is horizontal scaling. So it's basically adding more interest lookalike custom audiences to find extra profitable audiences that you can add to your main working audience. So for example, let's say you have here you have like 20 interests that you have that you basically targeting with all of your ad sets. You're spending several $1,000s a day. You really don't know where to scale your ads further. So what you do next is you would find new audiences that you could leverage and target. So the way you do this, For example, if you like during your testing, as I showed you, we have found some 1% lookalike audiences based on your buyers and subscribers lists. So if you go here, this account has already has all of the ad sets, all of the audiences created. So, but I'll show you how exactly how to set it up. So, for example, as you can see here, so for example, this one is the lookalike audience, 1% of all customers that this business had. So the way we have created it, and I just created all of them at the same time when we have in the previous section of this training. So you would have this audience, for example, your original one, the ones that you are like basically importing from your customer list or from your Shopify store, or your clients would provide it for you, or he would upload it into the system. So you would create the lookalike audience that is based on your original custom audience of customers. Oops. So here you would click, you would choose, and here is what you can do. So basically, if your business is going after like advertising in one country, like United States, you can create these audiences in one country. So you can create up to 6 audiences here. So from 1% to from 0 to 1, like 1% lookalike to 8% lookalike. So as you can see, they're different all here. And so what you would do is, if your business is targeting some other countries, for example, Canada, if your business is targeting Canada, for example, you can do the same thing here. So you would create 6 audiences right away from people that are similar to your ideal customers, people that have bought from you, but those people would be living in Canada. And you can do the same for all the countries that you want. So for example, United Kingdom, if you're selling internationally, you would create the audience of people similar to your ideal customers, but those who are living in United Kingdom, and you would save it here, and you would call it as you wish here. So this way you can create a lot of new audiences. So if your business is basically advertising to like to Australia, and let's just calculate, for example, your business is advertising to Australia, so that would be like 6 audiences, and your business is advertising in Canada, 6 more, and your business is advertising in United Kingdom, so it would be 18. And so just the total of this would be 18 new audiences that you can test on top of these 6 lookalike audiences from United States. So just what you need to understand is just that you know, the audience which is 1% lookalike, for example, this one, is much like in my experience and overall Facebook recommends it, it's much has much higher probability to convert and be within your KPIs, because the bigger the audience, you know, the less similar it is to your ideal customers. So you want to keep that in mind. So maybe you want to just to test 1% lookalikes, create those audiences for example, if you're advertising in different countries, and then only after that you would like once you have exhausted 1% fully, you would create audiences of 2%, 3%, and all of those other audiences. But just so you know that you have this option to create all of these audiences. And I'm not saying that those will not work. It just they have less probability to work. So I have basically explained here. So you would create lookalike audience at all of those percentage levels. Similarity for US for each lookalike that converted at 1%. And of course, you always want to when you have when you are creating new ad sets, you always want to exclude the buyers. So, for example, if you can see here. As you can see here, all of these ad sets that we have created within Quaya, and all of them have had we use the targeting template. All of them have customers and subscribers excluded, so you do not target the same. Basically, do not target the same customers that you have. You're just targeting new people. And that's what you can set up, as you can see here, excluding all customers and excluding all subscribers. So that all can be set up within the Quaya. And also in Quaya, as you can see here, you can also set up your custom audiences. You can collect. Basically, you can copy emails of your customers. You can paste them here, phone numbers, and that would create a new custom audience within the Quaya. So you don't even have to visit Adverts Manager and Power Editor. So that's what we have covered. Basically, you follow the same process. So you would launch those ads, those lookalike audiences. You would also always exclude buyers and subscribers, so in those ad sets. And you would use the same control ads that we have identified during our testing process to those audiences. So for example, if that would be, let's say, if that So that would be the post IDs that you want to use, your control ad, and it proved to be working well. Then you would simply use it here in Quaya. So you would create ads. So guys, remember, we are in the second phase of scaling. So like this only, like you'll only need this if like you fully exhaust the full method, the first method. So if you have increased your budgets, if you have duplicated your winning ad sets, if you have increased your ad budgets massively on certain ad sets, so it basically works well, and then you don't know like what else to do. Only then you would do it here. So as you can see, we don't want to post on Instagram. Okay. Yeah. So we would post here. And guys, in previous section, I've chosen the right column. So as I mentioned, it's not required. So if you want to just start with desktop and mobile, and you don't want to even split test them, it's totally fine. You can have them together for now. and later on you can split them. So here's basically that we have, and we can now create the targeting template, basically for lookalikes that we have created. So for example, here you would choose the United States, and here you would choose our perfect target audience age, and we target females. And lookalikes, as you can see here, you would choose lookalike. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of them. So you would choose all the ones that we need. Okay, all customers. So as I've said, it's like the higher this number, it's the less probability it will convert. But I'll just show you to demonstrate that is the options that you have here. Lookalike email list, lookalike email list, lookalike purchases. So all of these items that you can create here, and also here, customers. You can exclude all of the customers. And you would basically create your, you would save it as lookalike audiences. And then you can click use, and it will populate here. Oh, I haven't clicked on the split. Sorry. Oh, strange. Okay, what have we? Okay. Oh, strange. Okay, let me fix that. Okay, lookalike. It's very strange. I should be able to split this. So guys, you would oh, I guess I have some issues with my my internet connection, or it's very strange. Usually it allows me to do it. No, that will not work. So if you would not use Quaya, you would do it through Adverts Manager. So basically, you would copy the ad sets that are working well in your. You would copy adverts here. So for example, that would happen in the campaigns where you have conversions lookalike. Okay, so that might be the reason. As you can see here, I already have all of these, basically all of these ad sets created. So all I need to do then is just duplicate them, and as a targeting to choose another lookalike audience. So to do that, I need to go here. I need to choose lookalike, whichever one I want, and then save and continue. So that would, as you can see, it's excluding all the purchasers, and that would allow me to target various, lookalike audiences that are similar to my ideal customers. So you would follow the same process. You would launch the same control ad to those audience. You would optimize those ad sets, and then you would scale winners starting with dimension 1 scaling. So you would go with increasing the budget, and you would go with duplicating successful ad sets and duplicating them at a higher budget. So with this one, option 2 I just showed you. So you would watch the audiences, lookalike audiences in the United States that converted within KPI, and you would create those 1% lookalike audiences in other countries in the US. So if that would be Canada or United Kingdom or Australia or New Zealand, so all of these countries, or any other countries, you would create lookalike audience 1% for all of these. And basically, to create lookalike audience of, for example, people who have visited your website. For example, you want to target people who are similar to those that click through to the ads that you have. So, for example, people who have visited your website, you can create the audiences out of those people. And then you can create lookalike audience to find more people who are similar to your website visitors. So what it will allow you to do is finding more people, because if someone has clicked to your website, it means that they're interested in to hear about what you have, and you need to basically attract similar kind of people to your website. So you would create the audience using custom audience here. You would click website traffic, and then you would choose, for example, all website visitors or people who have visited specific pages. You would put the URL here, so it would be your website, yourwebsite.com. And if you want to just like target people who have visited a specific page, you would give specific URL here, and then you would call this audience, for example, visited this specific page last 30 days, and then you would create this audience. You would click here. So what you'll do then is, as with all these other audiences, like this one, for example, you would create lookalike. Oh, sorry, you cannot create lookalike. But for example, with this one, test audience, okay, you cannot create lookalike with this one as well. But for example, all website visitors last 30 days. So what you can do here, create lookalike. And as well here, so if you're targeting United States, you'll be able to create lookalike audience for United States 1%, or if you want to create more audiences, you have the option here. But again, you need to have at least 1,000 people pixeled on your website, because if you have less, it will make it harder for Facebook to create it, and also your audience will not be as precise as if it is like the more people you have pixeled on your website, the better it is for Facebook to find people who are similar to your visitors, who are likely to buy from you. So again, you would have these audiences here, and you would go through the same process with either duplicating the ad sets through your Adverts Manager, or in Power Editor, or in Quia if you want to. But there's some issue with Quia. It hasn't happened before. It's very strange, because usually, for example, if you go here and you choose some interests like shopping, I just choose strange, because Quiet does not show. Okay, you would simply use the Adverts Manager in that, or Power Editor in that scenario. So that's our next step. And again, you would, like, if you don't have the list of subscribers or list of your customers from Facebook, you would simply download them into Facebook and create custom audiences. So then you can create 1% lookalikes for United States, or for any other countries that you're advertising in. With your subscribers, with your buyers, like at least it's 100 people should be in the audience. But in my experience, you should have about 1,000 people. So at least 1,000 people as subscribers and at least 100 buyers. The reason for that is because the more people you have in your audience, the easier it will be for Facebook to basically like find people who are similar to your ideal customers. So in all of these templates that you create, you want to exclude your buyers and subscribers, and you want to launch these ads to audiences that you have created in this section. So to all of these lookalike audiences, you would create new ads. You would use the post ID as I showed you before. You would copy it, and you would simply duplicate it through Adverts Manager. You would replace the ad creative, post ID, and you would simply let it run. And remember to keep it in one place. So if you're running, let me just show you. So if you're running your ads, sets through your campaign, which is interests, you would keep all of your new interests here. And if you would do your new audiences lookalikes, as we just done, you would keep it all here. So because, as I've said it, like the optimizations that Facebook takes with lookalike audiences is a bit different that it takes with interests, so you want to keep it separately. And retargeting as well, we'll just go through in a second. Okay, so with this option, you can basically start researching out additional specific interests that you can test. So as you remember here, we had all of these interests that we have here. You can basically, like, if, for example, if you have tested these audiences and you haven't tested all these other audiences, you can test them now. So you would copy all of them you would create a new targeting template in Quaya. New targeting, United States. (25 to 45) female, detailed, and you would copy. Okay, cannot find it, this audience. Cannot find this one as well. Also, it was showing up in audience insights. Cannot find this one too. Again, with this one. It's hard to with this. Okay. So basically, out of all of these interests, none of them are accessible to target on Facebook. So we would just we would do additional audience insight research to see if we can find any extra audiences. So again, we would do it through choosing our customer list. So all of the customers. So all of these companies, copy into our template. And again, we would copy all of these audiences. So we would copy all of these, and then we would use Quaya, for example. Wow, again, it's tough. So we would just, but there are a lot of them. So hopefully some of them will be able to target. I'll sort them by size. This one should be available to target. No. Not really. Okay, yeah, finally. So we have this so all of these audiences, if you haven't tested them, use the suggestions from Adverse Manager or from Quaya to basically create targeting template. As you can see, it's now available finally. Not sure why it wasn't. As the same here. Not sure why it wasn't available. So you would create this targeting template and you would call it new targeting template. you would remove this one, and you have new targeting template. You would pull it in here. As you can see, all of these new interests that we want to test. We have our ad, which is again is optimized for conversions, which is important to just select when you create ads. Here on top, you select website conversions, and then you would simply publish these ads, and you would put them in ad sets, which we already have. So that would be the AF conversions, and because these are interests, we put them into conversions. You would set a budget, so it would be 5 or 10 or 20 or 50, whatever you are comfortable on spending. Offsite conversions, impressions, and that would be it. So you would click generate for ads. Okay, I need to choose a pixel. Purchase, we always optimize for purchase because this pixel is seasoned. And then you would publish this for ads. That would push it to the Facebook. So like with this audience, that's what you would do. You would do additional research. You have your if you have your subscribers list inside of Facebook. If you have your email list, if you have your buyers list, and also if you do not have like any of those, you would go after your competitors, for example, or you would go after some interests that you consider relevant to what you're doing. So in our space, we would go after parenting magazine, for example. Big parenting moments. So all of these Disney baby, and all of these interests that we could potentially test. So big bad parenting moments, all of these new audiences that you consider relevant to your niche. But it's better to go after some niches, maybe some smaller. For example, your competitors. In our space, that is our competitor. And you can see here how many of potential audiences we could target. Not all of them would be relevant, so we would check these pages, but a lot of them are available. So with this audience, you would add new interests that you would target, and you would launch ads, your control ad to audiences that are created in this step. So retargeting, I showed you how to do it. Basically, you would create new audiences out of people that have visited your website, and you want to meet them with a specific message. So, for example, for this client, we have several layers of retargeting. So, for example, that is one of the ads that we are running. And like this one is specifically like showing to people that are that have visited specific page on the website, and we are driving them to the checkout, and we also have specific discounts that they can apply to get their discounts. So those are like more like warm audiences. And when you have established your strategy in previous sections, then you would drive basically traffic to different points in your conversion funnel to get people to complete the purchase, or complete the checkout, or just to fill out your forms, just to complete the actions that you want them to take. So then you would do the same way with all of these audiences. You would create. The only difference with this one is you would create it in different campaigns that we had. So AF conversion retargeting, as you can see here. Oops, sorry. Okay, so we have, as you can see, we have conversions retargeting. So we would, if we would create ad sets, we would create it here. We would choose the audiences of people, for example, that have visited our website. So we would choose 18 to 65 because it would not, it wouldn't really matter. Some people would come to our website organically, and we don't want to miss them. They could be buyers as well. It just, our core audience is are people that are like 25 to 45, but anyone can basically visit the website and can purchase. So we would just leave it, and if they have visited, it means that they could be potentially interested. So I would optimize it for conversions. Conversion window, I usually leave it 7 days. And then you can create your. Sorry, we haven't chosen the audience. So as for audience, you can choose the website visitor. So, for example, or whatever the specific conversion point in your funnel. So all website visitors. We would do continue. And then we would create the ad specifically for this purpose. I showed you the example, so I will not create it right now. But you can have the carousel ad with several of your products at the same time. You can have the video where you basically like showing something to this audience, or you can have the image and simply some discount code, or you can even have the collection where you would display some of your products within your ads. So that would be like available if you have the e-commerce store, and if you have your product catalog integrated into Facebook. So that's it for this one. You would do the same way. You would launch these audiences. You would then monitor them for your KPIs. You would optimize them, and you then scale winners starting with the mentioned ones. So again, it would be either duplicating ad sets or duplicating at a higher budgets, or it would be like gradually increasing the budget on the ad set. So this third type of scaling is something that I personally rarely use because it's only applicable, for example, if you have if you're running like very like time limited campaign where you have, for example, like client wants to spend like $50,000 or 100 or $500,000 on advertising, and they want to reach as many people as possible with their message because they know their message is converting. So basically, what you would do is you would launch your control ads that you have working to your best converting audience from initial testing. So, for example, in our scenario, if we would have, so for example, we have AF conversion interest, and for example, we have noticed that this audience baby shower is converting really well. So what we would do then, and for example, if we like in this conversion interest, we would simply like exhaust this audience, through like we would exhaust it, like we would have like several ad sets, or we would run the ad set with a budget of $1,000 a day to that audience, and we would do it for a few months. So we would completely exhaust that audience. We want to just reach the same audience, but from different angle. And I just want to show you basically how Facebook algorithm works. So Facebook is optimizing your campaigns on the backend, and basically it happens like uh, according to the goals that you specify to Facebook. For example, if you optimize your campaign for like website conversions, Facebook will show it to to certain people. For example, like this much of the traffic, this much here. These are people who are likely to convert. So that's who they will show your ads to. And if you're creating campaigns that is optimized for website clicks, for example, that is a part of the traffic that is most likely to click on your ads. So that they will show it to that audience. And for example, if there is a part of your audience that is likely to engage, people who like to comment and share, and you create new campaign with the goal of engagement, you would show your ads to these people. And what's important to understand is that this is conversion optimized ads, and these are clicks optimized, and these are engagement, for example. But that does not mean that all of the buyers are only within this campaign, because like there are certain buyers in engagement, audience, people who like to comment and share and like and just engage with ads, and also people who just like to click to the website. There's buyers among them as well. So you would want, like, if you want to exhaust, like if you have exhausted the audience with conversion ads and you simply don't know what to do, then, or you want to reach this audience at a very short frame of time, you would go after website clicks and engagement ads. And I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to set it up. So here, as you can see, when we have started with our campaign, we have created 9 different campaigns. And that is, like, for example, here we have engagement and interest. So, for example, you know for sure, like after your initial testing, that baby shower interest works well. So you want to launch the engagement campaign to baby shower interest. So you would go to your campaign and you would basically duplicate everything that you have in here for like you would choose your core audience. You would basically duplicate what you have for your conversion campaign here. And you would choose the interest, which is baby shower. And then you would choose the budget. For example, $20 a day. You would set up start and end date if you want to, and you would optimize for post engagement. They offer you all of these options, and you would optimize for post engagement. So then you would basically show the same ad. The same ad that we had there. Oh, okay, maybe we still have it. Post ID. Okay, we don't have it. So again, let's say this one is your converting ad. So you would copy this. Oh, not sure what. Copy. So you would use the same ad that was performing well for your conversion ads. So that's what you would do, and you click confirm, and you would save, and you would basically launch this ad set. And then after 2-3 days, you would see the initial results of this ad set. You would do the same with all of the interests that have converted well for conversion ads for your engagement if you want to test this way of things. Just a few notes. Engagement ads, that works well with some kind of viral content. So if you feel that your content has ability to go viral, that's definitely something you want to test. And if not, it's better not to test it. Just focus on conversion ads because that's what usually delivers the best results. So the same way, so I've outlined the process here. You would go with website clicks campaigns. Again, you would so you have website clicks traffic, and you have interests. So again, you would launch the ad set here with all of these settings from your winning ad sets with conversion ads, and you would exclude your buyers and your subscribers. So the same way as we've done with engagement ads a few minutes ago. And then you would follow the same process. You would optimize them. You scale the winners starting with the mentioned one. So you would increase the budget by 20-30% if they work well, and you would duplicate them with slight variations. And also you can try to duplicate them with higher cost and with higher daily spend. So testing the page post engagements. So that's what I have explained. Testing Instagram ads. So for that, you would create a separate campaign. Like I do not usually do this because there is enough audiences on Facebook that that we can target with my clients. So I specialize in Facebook. But if you want to go on Instagram and target people on Instagram, that is definitely possible. So what you would do is you would just specify it here. And you need to keep in mind that Facebook has slightly different requirements for Instagram ads at the moment. Women. So again, if baby shower was one of the like top performing interests that we want to target, we would exclude our buyers. Oh, sorry, it's custom audiences. So you would exclude and you would also exclude all of the subscribers. Okay, so you have a basic template in place now, and here for the placements, you would only choose Instagram. So, and you would set up the ads the same way as you would do with regular ones. So you would use existing post and see if this complies with Instagram requirements. Yeah, seems it is. So you would simply use the same ad for Instagram. And again, you would keep it in a separate campaign here. So you have everything in one place. So this way you have, you know, additional audience that you can basically reach on Instagram. If your, you know, if your business, if your niche or your client's niche is highly visual, that will definitely make sense to reach, you know, people on Instagram with your great creatives. So you would follow the same process. You would exclude buyers and subscribers, you would optimize them, and then you would scale them with adding more budget, 20-30% a day, then duplicating ad sets with slight variations, and then also duplicating ad sets and testing them at the higher budgets. Lead ads, so that would apply only if you're doing lead generation. So lead generation ads, these are the ones that basically you can set up here. They have slightly different setups than regular Facebook ads. And the way you duplicate them, once you have them set up, is very straightforward. So you would do it the same way as with regular ones. So you click duplicate, and then you would just you know, choose the like variations that you want to have within your ads. And with like if you want to create new lead ads, you also want to have them in a new campaign. So for example, you would create it here, and then you would need to basically adjust it to because lead generation, like it's a bit different platform where you do not like send people to your website, but you're simply collecting contact information. So is that something that applicable to your business? Then it's definitely, you know, worth a try. In our situation, we do not use lead ads because our goal is purchasing on the website, and also testing video ads. So in my experience, video ads, like I would not recommend to, you know, to just run them. Like here is the type of the campaigns that you can run, but I do not recommend it. So video views. If you have some video creatives, like you would set it up in the same way. The only difference is that here you can only optimize for video views, and in my experience, optimizing for video views is not really efficient, because it's like people who will watch your videos but will never buy from you. So I personally, you know, stay away from this method. I just outlined it here, so in case your goal is to get as many video views as possible, if that's what's important to client, you can do it that way. You can set up video ads with your basically with your main message that you have in your ad, because you like in your main ads you typically have the image, and here you have video, so you can replace the video with you can replace image with the video in this one. Now here are some extra notes regarding scaling. In my experience, you know, you should always start with type 1 scaling first. You should increase your ad set budgets on ad sets by 20-30%. Then you can duplicate your ad sets and duplicate them at the higher budgets. You can do all of these simultaneously. There is no restriction to that, and in my experience, it does not harm the performance. And you also don't have to do all of these, you know, all of these methods that I have specified. Like in my experience, you can simply run your ads with simply duplicating ad sets and increasing the budgets on winning ad sets. and that will be like fully efficient to spend several $1,000s a day on advertising. It's just when you have, you know, those deadlines, when you want to reach as many people as possible, or if you have you know, just goals as an engagement, or just website clicks, depending on what is your agreement with the client, you would want to do those types of advertising. And also remember that every campaign is unique. So like all of these options, some of these will work for you, some of these will not work for you. So I just give you framework to identify those that work and eliminate those that do not work as quickly as possible, and just use, you know, whatever is convenient for you. I would recommend you stick with the first first three types of scaling, and then you know, based on that, if you have any questions, just ask me on a weekly call. But usually you should be fine just doing those and optimizing them, stopping, like if you see that ad set is not performing as it should, and it's, you know, much higher than CPAs that you have established, and if you have, you know, constraints on the budgets, definitely stop it, even if it's, you know, what I have specified in this step-by-step guide, because it all depends on your specific campaign, on how optimized your pixel is, and how Facebook algorithm works on a specific day, and stuff like that. So just general information. So these are not hard rules. These are just guidelines that you should basically follow and adjust it to match your goals and your needs. So guys, that's it for this training, and I'll see you in the next one. If you have any questions, please prepare them for a weekly Q&A call. Thank you.